Let me ask you something. What if you had the chance to get in on the ground floor of the greatest financial revolutions in human history? What if the asset everyone marketed for years is now being adopted by nations, corporations, and forward thinking individuals, and it's still only just beginning? Bitcoin isn't just a technology, it's a lifeboat in a sinking financial system. It's hope for millions of people worldwide who are losing faith in the currencies. And here's the best part, you are not late. In fact, you are incredibly early. Stick with me as we break down why Bitcoin is the most exciting opportunities of our lifetime, how it's reshaping the global economy, and why your future self will thank you for taking the time to understand it now. Here's the kicker. Bitcoin, even at $100,000 per coin, represents less than a quarter of 1% of that market. Take gold, for example. It's valued at around $12 trillion. Real estate, a massive $100 trillion market. Then you have the dollar, the world reserve currency, which is being printed into oblivion and losing purchasing power every single year. That's why it's called a melting ice cube. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is different. It's finite. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, and about 19.5 million of those are already in circulation. It's deflationary by design, make it a safe havens in a world where fiat currencies are crumbling. So if you think you're late to Bitcoin, you are not. In fact, you are early. The best times to buy Bitcoin was yesterday. The second best time is today. Now, one of the most remarkable things about Bitcoin is the sense of community it's fostered. When you meet another Bitcoiner, it feels like you know them forever. Why? Because you're not just talking about money. You are sharing a vision for the future. The conversations were about building, about solving problems. There's this shared optimism in the air, a belief that tomorrow will be better than today because of Bitcoin. Think about this. People in countries with failing currencies like Argentina or Nigeria are using Bitcoins to escape hyperinflation. For them, Bitcoin isn't just an investment, it's a lifeline. And that's what makes the communities so special. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about creating a fairer and freer world. It's not just individuals adopting Bitcoin, it's nations too. Imagine you are a country with an abundance of energy. Whether it's oil, natural gas, or renewables, you have resources sitting idle. What if you could use Bitcoins to monetize that energy and turn it into global wealth? Now take El Salvador, for instance. They were the first countries to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender, and they're already reaping the benefits. They've used volcanic energies to mine Bitcoin and are funding public infrastructures with the profits. Now imagine energy-rich countries like Saudi Arabia or Russia follow suit. Recently, there have been whispers about Saudi Arabia accumulating Bitcoin, and with a major Bitcoin conference happening soon in the Emirates, who knows what announcement might come up next. The infrastructure is already there. The question isn't if more nations will adopt Bitcoin, it's when. Now let's talk about corporation. Over 130 public companies already hold Bitcoin, but that's just scratching the surface. Imagine what happens when major corporations start adding Bitcoins to their balance sheets in masses. For instance, MicroStrategy has become a poster child for corporate Bitcoin's adoption, holding over 400,000 Bitcoins. But what if a company like Berkshire Hathaway, known for its cautious and traditional approach, reverse its stance and start buying Bitcoin? The ripple effects would be enormous. It would force other companies to rethink their strategies and wake up to the realities that Bitcoin isn't going away. Corporation adoption is accelerating, and it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin becomes a standard part of financial planning for businesses worldwide. Bitcoin price movements often follow a predictable 4-year cycle, driven by the halving events that reduces the supply of new Bitcoins. Historically, the 4 year after a halving has brought explosive growth. We are entering the 4th major cycle now, and if history is any guide, the next 12 to 18 months could be life-changing for Bitcoin's investor. Yes, Bitcoin is volatile, but zoom out. Over the last decade, it's gone from pennies to tens of thousands of dollars. This cycle might look different as Bitcoin grows, but the fundamentals haven't changed. Scarcity, security, and adoption continues to drive demand. And with Bitcoins becoming more global, the opportunities only gets bigger. Here's the thing. For Bitcoins to succeed long term, we need to stay vigilant. Decentralization is non-negotiable. That means ensuring that mining isn't concentrated in just a few hands, and the people have access to accurate information about Bitcoin. Take ETF for example. They're a great on-ramp for new investors, but they don't fully capture what Bitcoin is about: self-custody, freedom, and sovereignty. It's up to us to educate newcomers and help them take full advantage of what Bitcoin offers. Bitcoin is more than an investment. It's a tool for preserving wealth and protecting freedom. And that's a message worth spreading. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is about hope. Hope for the better financial system. Hope for a world where individuals, not institutions, have control over the wealth. If you haven't started your Bitcoin journey yet, don't think it's too late. Remember, Bitcoin still represents less than a quarter of 1% of the global value storage market. We're in the early inning of the revolutions that will unfold over decades. So start small, start stacking, and remember, the best days to buy Bitcoin was yesterday, and the second best day is today. If you found this talk valuable, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Together we're shaping the future. Hold tight and stack it right. Take care, guys.